talking to me? You talking to me? I don't see anybody else in there. You must be talking to me. Just saw something I did yesterday. I was talking about Nietzsche, you know. This book, Beyond Good and Evil. That's where it is. He talks about the will to power, and I've got all these. What is this? Progeria. Mary's friends accelerate aging. Puberty Werner's less dramatic. Environmental aging. Liver spots. Risk factors for cancer. That's in there. And I've got something written on the corner. Somebody else before me had written inside in the margins there. And it's kind of fading, but I can still see it if I try to read it. Yes, I don't know. But underneath it, I write bullshit and point at it. Yeah, see, somebody shouldn't have been writing in the margins of a library book. But, you know, I told you, I somehow inadvertently and through lack of trying just ended up stealing this book from the library. But I can tell you this. There was another copy of this. This is a complete works. It has all of Nietzsche's. It's like an encyclopedic. There were 2 copies of this. And that Thus Spake Zarathustra one, it was all ratted and torn. It was more disheveled than this. I think this is a 1969 encyclopedia. You know how old things are when they were coming around in 1969 and falling apart by now. And so, yeah, I took it. There's a note: the erosion of policy, the weak clergy convincing those in power and incrementally powerless through generations was relatively easy as the latter lose touch. Yeah, it goes on. Look, that's my handwriting. Oh, there's really small stuff. Sometimes you run out of room on a library card, an index card. But the thing is, I was talking about how, well, let me go back to the theory of these books. Yeah, I ended up moving. I always end up moving, and shit gets left behind. And before I knew it, I was in China, and, 13 years gone by since I've been last out there, something like that. And there was a wedding, and I drove out, and I got my stuff out of Pure Legend storage, and all this stuff was in there. And I said, I found it. I found it when I got back. And thing is, there was a hold on my diploma because I had fined the library back then. That was part of it. And the other reason I didn't even bother getting it, I tried to get my transcripts and they wouldn't let me because there was a hold. But the reason I initially didn't get it was because, if I remember right, they wanted $275 to buy a diploma. And I'm like, haven't I given you enough money already? I did all this shit. I finished everything I was supposed to do on my own. And so then when I went out there in 2016 to get the stuff, before I even knew it was in that storage area there, I went back to get my diploma, and I went to the library before I even started with the counselor that put together my damn magical fucking refrain from 13 years ago. Looks like I did it again. Whoa, you can pull a lot of shit off if you wait long enough. I walked into the new library, never been in there, in San Jose State, right there on the corner by Hugh Gill's Hall. And I went to the guy and I said, I do believe I owe a library fine. I figured I'd be paying him $50 or something, replace the books. And he says, okay, I just needed to get this out of the way before I went in and started doing business. And he's looking and looking. I gave him my name, my card, all this stuff. He's looking, he says, there's nothing here. And I said, ha! Did it again. Stayed away for so long, they forgot about me. It's a very special gift. That and not being picked up by computers somehow. And nobody ever watches the show even. I mean, it's obvious that it's just like, it's all locked in the bottom. It doesn't come to the surface. You 7 people. But you know what? When I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to the other 6. I'm talking to you directly. So 7 of you. And I'm talking to you, and somehow you're catching on. So given time, it ceased to be a dilemma. Woyo Jing Tui Liang Nan. That's Chinese for I have a dilemma. Tui meaning leg. Tui. And it's like 2 paths. Woyo Jing Tui Liang Nan. So I'm watching this thing, I'm talking about Hitler using his stuff, how his sister took his stuff and gave it to Hitler, his little notes and things, and how he just used his material, the stuff that he'd never meant to be out at all, stuff that he abhorred but just had to write down just to get it out. See how terrible it is. He never meant for anybody to see this stuff. And after he died of syphilis in 1899, having been with one woman in his life, according to the story, that's the belief. And it was when he was young, he went to a whore just to see what it was all about. And he's like, I don't need women. I don't need anybody. I've got my books. I am an island. Except that island harbored syphilis, a microfilarial fucking parasite that eats away at the frontal cortex, the frontal lobes, and all that shit. It's a worm. Microfilarial, little worm, tiny, and it eats. And I thought about this. I realized as I'm looking at that right there at the end, it's like 7 minutes in, and I realized, you see, sometimes you talk to yourself long enough without moving your lips, something occurs. And I was just sitting there watching me, and it occurred. Why haven't the aliens given us the technology for time travel yet? That's what it is. That's what occurred to me, and I know why. Because look at us. Look at how we are. Every time we think of stopping the Holocaust and stopping World War II and stopping all these soldiers from getting killed so the guys that survived could come back and bang the shit out of everything that walked and have a baby boom and wow, these are good times now. Why don't we have time travel so we can go back? Because everything, it's not just about World War II, you know. It's about time travel in general, but I'm sure they look at that and use that as a prime example. One of the things that everybody's heard and everybody's thought about, whether they came up with something or not. You see, I was thinking about fucking killing his mother, not just to stop him from being born, but I thought it would be a lot of fun to rape Hitler's mother. And then what are you gonna do? You gotta get rid of the fucking body, so you ditch it. And there, that little pregnant fetus in there, because everybody likes fucking pregnant women. I don't know why. But yeah, it's in the ditch with her, and it either fucking claws its way out and lives, or it fucking dies because it's just a fetus. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. That's terrible. You raped the pregnant mother of Hitler while he was there. Oh, Well, if he'd survived, maybe you could call that the reason for it. What a terrible fucking start. But we're also having to remember, well, they like him more now than they did. I was going to say all those people that get pissed off, the evangelicals and the churches. The Catholic Church liked him well enough back then. But, yeah, they would have been okay before with him dying in the womb in a shallow grave. But now they seem to like him more, so they might get upset. I don't know. I can't tell anybody how to feel about anything. A good state of mental health is a total lack of feeling if you take into consideration that good physical health is no pain at all. Yeah, so just let it go. Just let it go. Haven't you been desensitized enough yet? We might have to send you somewhere to get reconditioned. The thing is, everybody says if you could go back in time, what would you do? And you always hear these people, and they say, I would go back and kill Hitler. I would kill the baby Hitler. I would do this. I would do that. I would do that. And the aliens that have the time travel plugged into our fucking servers right now, just waiting for it to get okay to where you say, boom, you can time travel right from your computer. It's not even going to take science. They're ready for it. Except all they hear is gonna go kill someone. Gonna go kill someone. Gonna fucking rape someone. Gonna kill someone. Yeah. Die. But they don't want us just running around killing each other, and that's all we ever do. So we only get little bits, little gifts, and it seems to be common knowledge. I hear it here and there. I've never read about him. I haven't. I should read Mein Kampf just to see what he's talking about. Get all the little intricacies and the weirdo stuff that goes on. But people talk about how he was a young artist. How he was a young artist after being in World War I. He was a corporal in World War I. That's not a bad rank. It's not a private. Corporals have been around. They have some kind of command over people. Even if it's just screwing them up, telling them to do stupid things. People will listen to you. You're senior spec 4 in this company. You start saying shit like that, these jugheads will believe you. That's what was said to me. See, you have some kind of influence at a damn E4 corporal. But he became an artist. Starving artist, I guess, but I'm thinking that's where all the red and the black and the fucking, all this shit, it was pretty potent stuff. If he was the designer for these clothes, he did a great job. People didn't give him enough credit in the streets. Maybe, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe all the aliens want to hear is someone say if they could go back in time, they would find Hitler on the streets as a young artist who's had a hard time, been through a war, and he's just wants to just find some peace, and there he is starving. He's fucking starving. He can't keep his head straight. Maybe all the aliens want is to hear someone say, I would go buy his art. I would buy his art. I would share his work with influential people. Because coming from the future, you have a lot of fucking money. And, you can make it in your damn 3D printer. Just take it back, Deutschmarks. You could go back in time and validate Hitler's existence as an individual, rather than let him coast down that path to the future where he no longer thought about himself so much. Because when you're thinking about hatred towards others, you're not thinking about yourself. You've got an external locus of control. We could have fucking taken him off the fence, that location right there teetering, and gave him a slight nudge, maybe have a beer on the ground right there, over to an internal locus of control where he felt like this is where this life comes from. Not there. This is whom I am, and this is something I can share with others. And until you can quit just trying to kill someone because he did something, you could get to him before he does. And give him a little bit of help. Like, subscribe, and share.